So, hi there. This is your skill check for chapter 2 on contingency tables. And here is the scenario. We're pretending that in the summer of 2019, a group of lepidopterists from Dalhousie spent a weekend at each of 3 locations counting 5 different kinds of butterflies. So we have 2 categorical variables. The data they collected appears in a contingency table. Now you're surely going to see a contingency table on the first quiz. Almost certainly you're going to see one also on the midterm and even again on the final. So we need to be good at doing these calculations. The good thing is they're quite easy as long as you remember this trick. First, you have to ask yourself, who are we talking about? That number goes on the bottom. That's always the bigger of the 2 numbers. And then you ask, what is the contingency or condition of those who that we're talking about, that we're looking at? So for example, if we're asked what percentage of butterflies were found in Halifax, the who is all the butterflies. And so in this case, it's the complete 292, what we call the grand total. The contingency or condition, well, in this case, it's a condition. It's a single condition. We're looking at, of all the butterflies, how many were found in Halifax. So we look at the row for Halifax. We see there's a total of 101, and that gives us our ratio and our percentage. Next one, what percentage of butterflies were monarch? So again, the who is all the butterflies. That's the grand total. And in this case, the condition, we're looking at butterflies that are of the species monarch. So we look in the column that corresponds to monarch. And we see that there's 61 in total. So it's 61 out of 292. We do that calculation, we get our percentage. Third example, what percentage of swallowtail butterflies were found in Sydney? In this case, the who consists of the swallowtail butterflies. And so the who is a subset of the total in this case. We're basically looking at this column for swallowtail. So we have 60 in total. And what is the condition? They were found in Sydney. So we look at the row for Sydney and we get 21 of those butterflies were found in Sydney, and that gives us our ratio, 21 over 60. And you calculate your percentage. Next one, what percentage of butterflies in Halifax were painted lady? Right, so we're looking at, let's see, what percentage of butterflies in Halifax? So the who is butterflies in Halifax. We can see from the row that there's 101 in total. And the condition is that they were painted lady. So we're looking at the column for painted lady. We see it's 12 out of 101, which gives us our percentage. Next one, what percentage of butterflies were found in Sydney and were blue morpho? So we're looking at a situation where the word and is in the description of the question. The word and is usually indicating you're looking for a contingency. You're looking for 2 conditions, which is a contingency. And so here, we're still looking at what percentage of butterflies, so all butterflies. But in this case, we have a contingency. We want butterflies that are in Sydney and are blue morpho. So we need to look at the intersection between the row for Sydney and the column for blue morpho. It's 19 out of 292. That gives us our percentage. Next one, we're looking at what percentage of butterflies were red admiral and found in Yarmouth. So here too, we're looking at a situation where we have a contingency. The who is all butterflies. The contingency consists of the 2 conditions, red admiral and Yarmouth. And so we look at the row for Yarmouth and the column for red admiral, and where they intersect, that's 19 in this case out of a total of 292 butterflies. And so we get our percentage. Next one, what percentage of butterflies were found outside of Halifax? So in other words, they were found in Yarmouth or Sydney. When you see the word or, it usually means you're going to add some things together. So here, the who Again, it's all butterflies. And we're looking at two conditions. Well, one condition outside Halifax, which is kind of like two conditions. We're looking for butterflies that are found in Yarmouth or found in Sydney. And with that or, we're going to add those numbers together. We get 191 in total. And out of 292, that gives us our percentage. Next one is what percentage of butterflies were either monarch or swallowtail. Again, the word or gives you the hint that you're going to have to add some things together. What percentage of butterflies? Again, the who is all butterflies. We're looking at two conditions, monarch or swallowtail. So we need to look at the monarch column and the swallowtail column. 61 plus 60 gives us our total. And so it's 121 over 292, and we get our percentage. What percentage of butterflies were either painted lady or blue morphle and were found in either Halifax or Yarmouth? So here, this is a bit of a challenge. I put it in here on purpose to try to make it a bit difficult. Probably you won't see one quite as hard as this on a quiz or an assignment or a midterm. But anyway, let's just remember a couple things. First, we see the word or. That's telling us we're going to be adding some numbers together. But we also see the word and, which tells us it's a contingency. We have two sets of conditions, and so it's a contingency. So we need to look at all butterflies. That's the who. And now the contingency is we're looking at painted lady or blue, so we can add those together, and Halifax or Dartmouth. And so essentially, we're looking at painted lady or blue morpho, and then we're looking at Yarmouth or Halifax. And so you see under painted lady, we have 15 and 12 for Yarmouth and Halifax. Under blue morpho, we have 24 and 25. And so we add all those numbers together, we get our total, and that's divided by the who, the 292, that gives us our percentage. So I think that's all of those. And next now we're going to the other part of this section where we look at a bar chart that's giving us a visualization of our two categorical variables. And we have to determine whether the two categorical variables are dependent or associated. Or otherwise, they could be independent and not associated. So this is the thing we're trying to look at. So the trick to this is to remember the simple rule. If the distribution of one categorical variable, in this case, let's say species, looks different depending on the other categorical variable, here's that other categorical variable's location. If they look different, then we can conclude that the two categorical variables are associated or dependent. So if they look different, there's a dependency. In other words, if you look at these three bar graphs, and notice the bars here don't have spaces between them. And that's why I say in class, usually bar graphs have spaces, but when you put three bar graphs onto one plot like this, they don't have spaces. And this is the way you're probably going to see it on a quiz or an assignment. So in any case, where was I? I was saying right. So you can see that in Yarmouth, you can see the distribution across the 5 butterfly types in Yarmouth looks different than the distribution of those 5 butterfly types in Halifax, which also looks different than the ones in Sydney. And so because they look different, we can conclude that there is an association or a dependency between these two categorical variables. In other words, the distribution of butterfly counts depends on which location you are in. So that's it for this skill check. It's pretty short. I hope you found it useful. If you have any questions, you can write them down in the comment section in the YouTube video. I'll be checking those out now and then, and I'll give you a response. Of course, you can always ask me in class as well, or send me an email. Lots of ways for us to communicate. That's all I have to say here, so bye for now.